Hello, welcome to Stories from Strathmore with me, Jimmy Black. Tonight and next week we'll be spending some time in the farm bothies of Strathmore. We'll be looking at what it was like to be a farm servant in the days before tractors and television. I asked Davie Adams of Brechin, who's written a book about Bothy Life, to tell me about it. But first I got him to play me a tune on his melodeon, a favourite Bothy instrument. I asked Davie first of all, what was a bothy?
It was a wee hoosey on the farmstead. You'll see them, a lot of them still standing. It looks like half a cottage with a gable, a chimney and inside a fireplace on one side, and a door, and usually sometimes just one window, sometimes a door between two windows either side. And the unmarried farm workers lived in there. They had their double calf beds in there and a fireplace for making their food, and they got a meal and milk allowance. And it started about 200 years ago. It became commoner later on, but around 1814 it was restricted to the Strathmore area and Carsagouri, run right up from Perthshire to the end of the Mearns, Angus.
Was it a comfortable life? Would Davie himself have liked to live it?
No, I don't think I would have liked to live it. No, there was a stone floor, and they had plenty. Latterly, when coal came, I suppose before there was coal, they didn't have a job getting fuel. But once the railways came in the 1840s, they had ample coal, and some of them tell me that the Bothy fire never went out even in the 6 months of summer. They feed 6 months at a time, winter and summer. So they would have been cosy enough, but their food was very simple, mostly oatmeal and milk and a few tarties they could scrounge, and a few eggs they could scrounge. That was basically their food, very little else.
Was living in a bothy pretty much a young man's occupation?
Mainly, they left school at one time as early as 12, later late 13, 14, early this century. And they started as loon, doing odd jobs with the grieve, and then gradually they got the Ora base to work. That was an old horse that did odd jobs about the farm. It wasn't strong enough to work with a pair. And then when they were about 16, we got their first pair of horse and work as a ploughman. If they were no good at ploughing, if they were wrong in the feet or wrong in the head, they could maybe go on for cattler or shepherd or something like that. And by the time they were about 24, they were about married usually.
The work was hard, and in bad weather it would have been miserable. Plenty of men must have been tempted to escape to the army, as you can hear from the song Twa Recruiting Sergeants, which Kirriemuir farmer Joe Aitken sings. Here's a couple of verses.
Shoot o' the barn and into the byre, this old farmer thinks she'll never tire. It's a slavery job o' low degree, so list my bonny laddie and come awa wi' me. And it's over the mountains and over the men, through Gibraltar to France and Spain, wi' feather to your bonnet and your kilt abin your knee. Enlist my bonny laddie and come awa wi' me. Wi' your tatty poorins and your ill brewed ale, your sour sown sourins and your meal and ale, your buttermilk and whey and your breed fire draw. Enlist my bonny laddie and come awa.
Joe's father used to take him into the bothies when he was a child, and he learned the singing there. He remembers the countryside when there were far more people working on the land.
It was a hard life. I mean, it was mostly manual work on the farms. Nowadays it's done for the seat of a tractor. But I think that they were happy enough. Well, they seemed to be happy enough. I think the fact was that there was a lot of folk on the farms at that time, and they made their own fun. It was cheery. Nowadays, even great big places can be worked virtually single-handed, and there's no the comradeship and the camaraderie that there was in the days.
What were some of the daft things that happened in the Bothies?
Oh, they were right up to tricks with one another, you know. They would, if somebody was away out late, they put nettles in his bed and things like that. I've heard the lads pushing our hail rosa sticks in the fields, just so in a neighbouring firm's fields, so that the Bothy lads there had to build them up again in the morning.
Was that appreciated?
I don't suppose it was, but I suppose the lads at the other place would have got their own back some way or another. I've heard the lads pinching into the farmer's hens and haying it in the pot when the farmer come into the bothy, and they swore blind that it was a rabbit they had in the pot. And suppose that if the farmer had kent that they'd pinched a hen or a chicken, they would have gotten sent down the road right away.
I asked Davie Adams how else the Bothy lads would entertain themselves.
Well, in the winter it was dark, of course, at tea time, so they played cards, mostly nap. And the other daft games, the two guys would put their feet together, the soles of their boots together, and hold a bosom shaft and see who could pull the other one up. That was called the swear tree. Another one was picking up pennies off the floor with their teeth, and somebody holding their legs, you know. And just daft games like that. In the summer, they tossed the caber and played quoits with horseshoes and threw the 56-pound weight over a line, and sometimes played football, either just to kick a boot or sometimes a organised amateur team, you know. And then their weekends off, and the night and the weekend they would go to a dance in the town and that, put on their bicycle sark on top of their grey flannel sark and bike into town and have a pint or two. They couldn't afford much, but they'd have a pint or two, maybe go to a dance, and then bike home at the end of it, taking their sausages home. A week about they take to buy the sausages for the Sunday dinner.
Davie mentioned a bicycle sark. Never heard of that.
Bicycle sark was a white cotton sark without a collar that they wore over their ordinary grey working sark. And sometimes they had two shirts on and that, or even three and that on the top. So but they never wore a tie with it. That was too formal, unless they were courting and trying to impress the dame's mother, they didn't wear a tie.
So how did the Bothy lads do their courting? They had no privacy in the Bothies.
I haven't elaborated on that because I'll leave to imagination.
Right.
I don't want to ask about that because it's a bit too near the bone. But I'll tell you one thing. A lot of them courted country lassies because if they were getting married, the lassie had to be used to living in the country and dry lavies and all that sort of thing. No lot of lassies for the town would be prepared to pop with that. And a lot of these lassies worked as maids in big houses like ministers and doctors and they'll be off out in the town. So they would get their night off on maybe a Wednesday. So that was called Damenecht or Molnecht.
The Bothies now are more famous for their Bothy ballads than anything else. Perhaps calling these songs Bothy ballads is wrong, because many came from the northeast where there were very few Bothies. But music certainly played a large part in the lives of the young farm servants in Strathmore.
Aye, they were very keen on music, and there's usually somebody who could play something. And there's always somebody with a fiddle or a melodeon or something, some bagpipes. And apart from that was the commonest instruments, fiddle and melodeon. Some of them became very good, and a lot of these band leaders in the 40s and 50s had started off Jim Cameron, and a great many more of them had been farm workers. And Jim Cameron, in fact, was a champion ploughman as well as a champion fiddler. And other ones could play away, but, you know, not outstandingly good, but at least they could give a tune. Other instruments was the Jew's harp, the trump, and the spoons, things like that, you know. And then just clacking their heels off their kists as well. That's how you get the corn kisters.
That's Stories from Strathmore for another week. Next time we'll be asking why the Bothies disappeared, as well as looking at life for some of the wandering single men who lived in the old Cooperangus lodging house. Till then, cheerio!